up like lizards in search of spots far away from each other to better harvest as many of the pods as we could. Wofa Sarpong said Kola was God's gift, and God would be angry if he didn't take all that he'd given us. I was angry at Otienu, my God, for sending me to a place like this when I had done nothing wrong. Sometimes I wondered what Wofa Sarpong's God was like. He seemed to be blessing Wofa Sarpong with an abundance of kola nuts. I will never forget having to stretch out my arms to cut the pods of kola at their bases, while precariously balancing my bare feet on branches, each time thinking I would fall. I never did fall, and managed to still my fear enough to keep grabbing the pods, which I threw down to Kwesi and Amina and the other older ones, who put them into big baskets they would later carry. Every day we worked morning and afternoon, and Wofa Sarpong never thanked us for our work. When he said, "All done," it was our cue to climb back down. We dropped our knives in a big basket, on top of kola pods with their gnarled-looking shells. We walked back on a path crisscrossed with ants every couple of steps we took. I could watch ants for days, the way they went about their work one at a time, and how if one of them got into trouble, they all came together to help. That day, I was filled with incredible sadness, remarking to myself how such tiny creatures could show kindness to each other, while people like Wofa Sarpong and the men who had kidnapped us were filled with nothing but cruelty. We got to Wofa Sarpong's compound of 4 wide huts, for him and his wives and young children, and 2 on the other side, for his grown children and those of us he'd bought. Close to the opening of his home was a hut that stood alone, where food pots and mortars and pestles were kept. As Amina walked ahead with her basket, I went into that solitary hut and took a black earthenware pot to Wofa Sarpong's first wife. I felt heavy, as if a blacksmith's anvil had been tied to my back. Wofa Sarpong's wife scooped 2 glistening mounds of tuo and put them in the pot, and passed the bowl to her co-wife, who fetched ladlefuls of palm soup with 2 specks of fish. "Smile," she commanded. Usually, I would paste a half-smile on my face, something to shake them off, but that day I couldn't even try. I put the pot before Amina and the other girls, and they dipped their fingers in the soup and began eating. Before I could decide whether I wanted to eat or not, Amina had led the tuo to my lips. "Eat your fufu," she said. I refused to use their words. I would not call it fufu like Amina. I took the lump of yellow plantain and cassava to my mouth, and it tasted like air. Then seconds later, my stomach churned. The food would come up if I kept trying, so I got up and went to sit under the abrofo nakite tree. I wanted it all to end. We had been brought over about a year before, and the sounds of the night still made me jump. Wofa Sarpong stole into our room often to see Amina, and after he left, I stayed awake listening to my sister cry by my side. That night, even though I hadn't eaten a thing, under the weight of my sadness, I slept like a fully fed python. All around us is water reflecting a blue that is deeper than the sky. There are people around us looking at the water, which behind us stretches past the edges of the earth. There are clothes blowing like big white scarves in the wind, and we are standing on a wooden platform. Ahead of us is land that looks familiar and unfamiliar all at once, with palm-like trees that shake and bend in the wind. The trees grow bigger and bigger. We are moving. I wake up, my clothes wet as if a bucket of water had been flung on me. The forest had not only taken my voice, it had seeped into my dreams, severing the strongest connection I shared with my sister. When our Baba disappeared, we knew he was alive because Husseina and I both dreamed he was in a room. I would see things from one angle,